Hey, yo, what's up, folks? Give me a hot second here to make sure all my shit's straight. Looks like all my shit's straight. Cool. Hey, we are going to continue working on martial powers today. It's a special Friday. Now, on Tuesday, we began work on the Rune Knight, and we will conclude that today. So let me check my signal, go through my intro spiel, we'll peel open our document, and we'll get back to work. So give me a hot second here to check the signal, make sure we is good to go. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. We is good to go. Sounds good to me. Okay, cool. So let's see. Here's that, and there's that, and I'm just gonna do some signal boosting here real quick across the Discords. Hit some of my frequent channels here, and I'll get into my intro spiel here real quick. So hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and then publish them online. I focused my attention here on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past 5 years, and there are a slew of links in the description down below to the DMsGuild, where I've been publishing my work for the past X years. So they all have extensive free previews. If you're normally here because you like the artwork that I produce, there's probably about 150 different illustrations across those books. If you are a D&D enthusiast, there's plenty of stuff there for you too. You can click on, if you're on a desktop, there's a full preview link underneath each individual product. Like when you go into the individual product page, like some of these have bundles like with 4 or 5 books in them. So if you click into a bundle and then click into the individual books, it'll take you to the individual book product screen. And then you can see underneath each book cover, there is a link that says full preview, unless you're on a mobile phone, and then there's an eye icon on the right-hand side of the screen. So whether you open it on your desktop or on your phone, you'll get a PDF that pops open. It's an extensive full preview for you to take a look at the document. If you think my work is cool, you want to support more of it in the future, then consider making a few purchases. Other ways that folks can support the channel is I just posted to Twitter, so if you want to get notifications of when I'm live in the future, you can follow me on Twitter X at Phil Kearney. And but best way to support the channel right now is to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. We're trying to reach up to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and we have more subscribers this week than we had last week. So that's a good sign that we're continuing to move forward, and I really appreciate everyone's help here. Okay, so we're getting into the martial power system here real quick. I know that some color mana enthusiasts, like Magic the Gathering color mana enthusiasts, check out the stream with me. This system that we're building, this martial power system, is a mana system that uses the same mana system as my tap and tap burn 5 color mana spell point variant rules, my spell point warlocks, my Knight and Tricksters books, as well as the Universal Spell Points and High Magic books that are all bundled down below. This Martial Powers book will be bundled with these once it's completed next year as well. And we're going to update all of it using the new 2024 rules when they come out. We'll be integrating both Ravnica, Strixhaven, and Theros into the mechanics that we have here. And so once this Martial Powers book is published, we'll have all 13 classes in the D&D 5e system using the same mana resource that we developed, these spell points. And in the core mechanics book here and the Knights and Tricksters book, it describes how you can devote spell points in your mana pool to specific colors to produce different effects or to cast different spells. All that stuff is available for you guys on free preview. And so when we're designing the classes here for the martial power system, we are keeping in mind the idea of using color mana in Ravnica or Theros or Strixhaven or any other campaign. I use them in Eberron, but you can run them in your campaign as you want. Mirrodin or Eldraine's hot right now. Zendikar, Exelon, wherever you want to go. All the spells are broken down in that bundle into their color devotion. You spend the mana with the right color to be able to cast the spell. Bob's your uncle. Bam, you're a wizard, Harry. So we're doing the same thing here for martial characters. This is our 83rd episode. If you want to stay up with us to build this thing together, you can drop down here into the playtest content and early looks here on my Patreon. You do not need to be a member of my Patreon to participate in this stuff. Just scroll down here to the color, the playtest content for martial powers. If you click here on YouTube, you'll find this playtest or this development stream. If you click here on martial powers, it'll take you to a read-only document that we have in Google Docs. This is the same document that I am working in currently right now live. So if you jump into the document, you'll see me crawling around and making changes to the text as this process proceeds. So let's see. We are continuing our work on the Rune Knight from on Tuesday. So let's look at the Word document that we have here. Here's the official rules. Let's see. Let's scroll down here to our power curve over levels. So we have frame of reference for powers known. A fighter uses the martial points progression. It's a short rest, basically equal to key. But there's a number of ways that you can gain additional mana over the course of a short rest. And of course, it all refreshes on a short rest anyway. The hybrid classes like artificer, paladin, ranger, they're using the same long rest mechanics that we have in the universal spell points and the tap on tap burn core mechanic books, where a half caster ends up with 40 mana at 20th level, where like say a wizard, cleric, druid, bard, sorcerer, sorry, not sorcerer, but yeah, the cleric, druid, and wizard and bard end up with 80 points at 20th level, while a sorcerer ends up with 100 points. And we are in the process of building out an expanded version of the spell point warlock, spell point sorcerers for people to use. So that'll be out next year as well. So spell point sorcerers, martial powers, rebuild all of it for 5.5 edition in 2024. Strixhaven, Ravnica, and Theros language. If they come out with another MTG setting in the future, we'll be able to build a conversion guide for that. Probably as like a pay what you want or something like that as well. We can also drop stuff into my Patreon for additional feed if people are interested in that content as well. So this is our front page with our scaling. We're going to go here. We're going to drop down into, we've already finished all the paths of power for the barbarian, all the subclasses there. We finished all the rogue subclasses already. We are now building out all of the subclasses for the fighter. And we are getting well underway to being done here. So let me scroll past the Cavalier, scroll past the Champion, scroll past the Psy Warrior, and get down here into the Rune Knight. So here's the Rune Knight. I'm going to take our third tab here and then drag down into the list of powers. Hey, what's up? Hey, Ketchiki, how you doing? Ketchiki, yeah. Just making sure I know how to pronounce that right. Archetypes of power. So again, you can check the description down below here to the Patreon list, and then scroll down to the the martial powers stuff, and open up the martial powers document to see where we're at right now. It's a 72-page document right now, but maybe 2 pages of it is scrap that we're going to throw away. Otherwise, it's a solid, Jesus Christ. It's a solid 70 pages worth of content that very little of it is going to get cut out. It's just going to get rearranged. Which means that by the time we're done with this is going to end up probably being another 100, 110-page document. So it's going to take a while. We have variant rules for warlocks, artificers, as well as how to multi-class between these channeling mechanics and spellcasting as normal. Here we are, martial power system. I'm going to scroll down here into the actual list of powers. Okay, so I've got a timer going. I've got some time on the clock for us to play. We already have a document going from Tuesday on our conversion guide. We had gotten everything in place so far except for how the actual runes work. And I think we've got it figured out now. So here's where we're at so far. So there's the Rune Knight power features, right? At 3rd level, you gain bonus proficiencies, right? So what we do, this is the conversion that we have so far. You gain the skilled feat, and that grants proficiency with smith tools, giant language, and you can choose one additional skill, tool, or language of your choice. At 3rd level as well, you gain giant's might. You learn the giant growth, sustained power, as a 1st rank power that you can sustain with 1 mana to increase your size to large. So let's go look at that power specifically so you know what it is that we're talking about. This is a sustained power. Sustained powers can either be... sustained powers are like maintaining a spell. They have persistent effects. In the martial power system, nothing has a set duration. If you inflict somebody with a condition, with an ongoing condition, that condition lasts until they can either make a saving throw to end it, typically each round, or some sort of condition triggers that causes the effect to end. Like, I think goading strike, for instance. If you hit somebody with a goading strike, they are now compelled to attack you and have disadvantage to attack anyone else. And that remains active until I believe they either succeed a wisdom saving throw against your channeling DC, or they hit you with an attack, at which point it ends. So, but until then, they have they could have disadvantage on their attack roll until they finish a long rest, and then the effect would wipe itself off. But like that's an example. So sustained powers, though, don't affect other people. They aren't concentration effects that you hit with somebody, and then they save out of it, and it ends anyway. A sustained effect is self-affecting only, and it remains active for however long you can maintain concentration on it, which we refer to as sustaining an effect. Or if you don't want to bother with concentration checks, you can lock that sustained power, so you no longer have to make concentration checks to keep it up, but it reduces your effective channeling limit by the number of mana it takes to activate that power. So if you are 5th level and you can channel 2nd rank powers, that means you can channel a total of 2 mana at the same time. A 2nd rank power costs 2 mana to activate or to channel. And if you want to lock, and it kind of like with concentration spells, you can have you can concentrate on these effects, but you can concentrate on a number of effects equal to your max channeling limit. So at 5th level, you have a max channeling limit of 2. So that means that you can maintain or sustain up to 2 mana worth of sustained effects, which could be a single effect that requires 2 mana to channel, or a 2nd rank power, or you could have 2 powers that are 1st rank each, totaling 2 mana, requiring a total of 2 mana to channel. At 5th level, you only have 2 ranks at all, so when you're channeling 2 levels worth, that fills all of your channels. You no longer have extra channels available for you to sustain or maintain concentration on, but you can still do instant effects like smites, maneuvers, reactions, exploits, different things that are instantaneous effects. Kind of like a wizard can maintain haste on themselves as a 3rd level spell, but they can also throw 3rd level fireballs at people. So it has that same mechanic, but it's expanded on and more flexible using the martial power system here. But if you don't want to maintain concentration at all, you can instead lock those channels. And a channel that is locked with a sustained power no longer has to be concentrated on, but it reduces the amount of mana that you can use for instant effects. So like, say that wizard, if a wizard were capable of locking channels and they locked a 3rd level haste effect and they're only 5th level, they wouldn't be able to do anything other than cast cantrips, because they no longer have any levels open for them to cast magic through, because they locked all the channels. Casters can't lock mana, but the martial power system lets you do that because your character's going toe-to-toe and taking lots of hits by nature. That's their job, to take those hits. So they have a smaller mana supply and they have a higher risk. So what you can do is you can either leave your channels open, risk the concentration check, and still be able to do boosts and maneuvers and exploits and reactions to have a more dynamic action sequence in combat during your round and during other people's turns. Or you can build a reliable character boosts with aura effects and these lock sustained powers that will you are choosing to cut off options for your instant abilities, but it guarantees that you can retain the ability to do these things. They can't be dismissed from you. You can't lose them. Unless, like, you get hit with a dispel magic, that can affect you. Going unconscious can affect you. Beginning a long rest. Those are basically the 3 conditions that cause you to drop a locked channel or a locked power. So that's a real quick crash course on how sustained powers work, but all that information is in the open document that you guys can look at around page... Martial powers, page 42. Yeah, page 42. This is where they start exploits, maneuvers, reactions, strikes, sustained powers here on page 42. You can read how these things work. Locking sustained powers on page 43. Range of effects, targeting powers, duplicating effects, visual effects and awareness, disrupting and dismissing powers on page 44. Like, all the mechanics are here in a rough form, pre-editing formatted. So, but they're pretty solid. I think over the next 4 months, we'll be able to find any kind of flaws or caveats that are here that need to be clarified. So, but the point is we're looking at the Rune Carver. No, we're looking at Giant's Might. So you learn Giant Growth. You learn the Giant Growth sustained power as a first. You learn Giant Growth as a first rank power that you can sustain with 1 mana to increase your size to large. So let's go down to our sustained powers. Back to the point. Sustained powers. Strikes. Sustained. And I know that Giant Growth is a 2nd rank sustained power. So normally it takes 2 mana for you. Normally you have to be 5th level, and it takes 2 mana for you to channel and sustain Giant Growth. Hey, Alan. But this subclass gives you Giant's Might. You learn Giant Growth as a 1st rank power that you can sustain with 1 mana to increase your size to large. So, hey Shiner, it's good to see you too. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. So Giant Growth normally is a 2nd rank power, which requires 5th level for you to channel and requires both of your mana. So at 5th level, it's the only power that you can sustain, and if you lock it, you'll cut yourself off from any other mana usage until you dismiss it. So one of the big advantages that we already get from the Rune Knight feature is that as Giant's Might, it's treated as a 1st rank power, which you gain at 3rd level, and at 3rd level you can again only channel 1st rank powers, and you only have 1 mana available, so you could choose to lock this and basically permanize Giant Growth on your character at 3rd level. Instead of taking 2 mana, it only takes, as it says here, you can sustain with 1 mana to increase your size to large. So this is the benefits that large size gives you. For you, it's 1 mana instead of 2, but it gives you size large. Your space now occupies a 2x2 space, which is a 10-foot square. Your weight increases by 4, which is as per raw. Your reach expands by 5 feet, which is also size large generally by raw. And you get increased damage and bonus to strength ability checks. You gain 1 additional power die. And for those that have been around for a while, we know at 1st level through 8th level, your power die is a D6, which then upgrades to a D8, which then finally upgrades to a D10. A power die is the equivalent to a martial arts die, or a superiority die, or a bardic inspiration die. The power die, depending on what powers you choose to learn, plays the same role as all of those 3 different class features. It's less effective than the inspiration die. It's about as effective as a martial arts die, and it's not as effective as a superiority die. But it gives you all the different options that all of those classes can give you through the power system if you want to kit into them. So it's more flexible. It offers a wider range. Good design note there is if you have more flexibility, it should have less numerical power. So if I'm going to let you do more with a die than what another class can do with their die, if my option is more flexible and provides more options, it should be less of a die than the other class that's more specialized, like a Bardic Inspiration. Subclasses varying, but the core class feature of the Bardic Inspiration is a very limited scope on what that inspiration die can do. So it should have a higher numerical value than the power dice that we option, because you can choose, like spells, different things that could trigger inspiration effects, which are typically categorized as exploits. Things that modify die rolls, saving throws, ability checks, attack rolls, as well as a bunch of other stuff. Notes. Finally, a use for oversized halfling model. Yes. Enjoy. So for 1 mana, size large, so that extra power die, it applies to melee weapon attacks when huge, and when you gain with 4. If you just purchase this power, by the time you can channel 4 mana, which is 13th level, you can expand your giant growth to be size huge. You expand to a 3x3 space, which is a 15-foot square. You multiply your weight by 9. Your reach expands to 10 feet. This is all canon as per raw for how sizes work. But then you gain 2 power dice to increase your damage. And at 13th level, we're using a D8. And by the time we get to 17th level, it would be a D10. So you'd get if you just go to size large, it'd be an extra D10 to all of your physical attacks. If you really dump in a shitload of mana, then it's going to be 2 power dice or 2 D10 that you're going to add to all of your melee attacks. In addition, you get a bonus to your strength ability checks. And the way that ability checks being an exploit, I won't scroll to it, but I'll just explain. When you have multiple dice that you throw for an exploit that will modify your die result, like strength ability checks. When you make an ability check, you'll make your ability check like normal, but then you add the result of the best power die result. So if I throw 2 dice, I'm say at 13th level, I can put up to 4 mana. With this power, I can do 2 dice, right? So when I make my ability check, I calculate it like normal. Then I roll 2 8-sided dice, 13th level. At 17th level, upgraded D10s. But at 13th level, when I can first do this, I throw 2 dice, 2 D8. If I get a 3 and a 7, I'd get rid of the 3 and I'd keep the 7. I'd add the 7 to my result, kind of like Bardic Inspiration. So it stays inside of that power curve that we expect to have for base D&D without blowing over the curve. The power dice are considered to be Bardic Inspiration dice and are considered to be superiority dice and are considered to be martial arts dice when you're looking at the ability to combine effects. If your bard is granting you Bardic Inspiration and you decide to use this to boost your results, since you're already getting a power die usage out of what you're using, you wouldn't use your Bardic Inspiration die. If you choose to use your Bardic Inspiration die that has been granted to you, you would use that instead of your power dice. So you can use one or the other, but you can't use them together. That's currently what we're playtesting. As we actually get into our playtest from 3rd to 7th level, we may be able to decide instead that you just add the Bardic Inspiration die to your dice pool. So you could, depending on what's the highest, your Bardic Inspiration die, your power dice, just choose the top of however many you threw. That's also a viable option, but it's probably not any additional tech, and it doesn't really screw anything up because the bard's blowing his resource to do that. It's probably safe to do that, but we'll have to check it out during testing. So, giant growth. There you go. So that's the Giant's Might at 3rd level. We're going to skip past the Rune Carver real quick and instead get into other class features. So skip past all of these. 10th level, you gain Great Stature, which is height increases by 3d4 inches. Oh wait, 7th level. Runic Shield, as a reaction to when a creature within 60 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, changes. You can spend 1 mana, causing the attack to reroll, taking the new result. Currently, the Runic Shield, what does it do? As listed, Runic Shield is, you can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So at 7th level, you would have 3 uses of this per day. Using our system, you would have a use of, at 7th level, you could use it up to 7 times. Here you go. You could use it up to 7 times every short rest, but you wouldn't have any battery left for anything else. It's your mana pool. You're using your mana pool for almost everything. Kind of like the monk, which sounds like a downside, but there's so many things you can use as a fighter to give you extra mana that you're making a choice to burn mana. At 7th, especially at 7th level, you can have infinite strikes. Like if you, anyway, we talked about that like maybe 2 episodes ago. You can check up on that. But we'll do a full walkthrough, of course, when this whole thing is done, and I'll come back and talk about it again eventually. But a fighter can end up having, even if you go with the scripted 2 short rests per adventuring day, that would by itself at 20th level give you 60 mana. Most people don't have 2 rests per day. You probably are going to have 1, maybe none. You should have at least 1. It'd be great if you had 2, but you're going to burn through a shitload of mana. But a fighter, like a 20th level fighter, could easily spend over 100 points of mana by modifying their attack rolls, using action surges, using second wind, as well as taking short rests. These are all mechanics that we add in as alternate class features for the fighter, and rogue gets some too, and barbarian gets some too, and the monk gets some too. So all of these short rest mana mechanic classes are gaining a lot of extra ways to cheat in extra mana into the character between short rests. So you're able to crack off a lot of powers, but none of them are outscaling anything that other characters would be able to do or that cantrips can do as defaults. Like cantrips at 11th level are, for what they're capable of doing, arguably stronger than what you can do by spending a single point of mana. So when you're looking at like damage capabilities or affecting people with like weapon mastery type stuff, cantrips are still king, still the best, and they're free to use. So there's a balance issue that goes inside of there that's been working really well from 12th to 19th level. But again, we want to look at it in our playtest at the low, at the first and second rank, the first and second tier of gameplay. So, but the point I'm making here is that we're forcing you to use a resource for the runic shield at 7 instead of just letting you use it only 3 times per day. If you don't want to use it at all, obviously you don't have to spend any mana on it, but you can use it as often as you please. And 1 point to force a reroll is not bad, especially if it's a crit. So you can spend mana as a reaction. Yep, there you go. And then, let's see. I'm going to skip past the Great Stature until we look at the runes again so you can understand those better. At 15th level, instead of, okay, so using as listed here, at 18th level, you get Runic Juggernaut, right? Which is you can learn to amplify your rune power, blah, 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 become size huge. And they only give you a 5-foot reach, which is stupid, but it's size huge, right? And you get an extra D10 of damage at 18th level. So they could, again, we're being a little bit more bold, but we're also charging you for it. So instead of being 18th level, we drop it to 15th level because you can. At 13th level, you have access to 4th rank powers, which means that you would be able to gain huge size at 13th level, which means that I want to start giving you a benefit earlier on than currently available. So you could, by 15th level, you can, okay, so you get the power for free at 3rd level, right? It only costs you 1 mana to do size large, but you already have the power, so at 13th level, you can use it as written for 4 mana to become size huge. But by 15th level, you can now channel it as a 2nd rank power instead of 4 mana. You can become size huge with 2 mana instead of 4. So we're really leaning into, you can giant good. And you can do it earlier, but it still stays in curve with the power structure that we have, and it is deeply rewarding you for using this power, because instead of eating up all 4 of your mana to be able to sustain this, it's only taking 2 of it, which of course you can lock and be permanently huge and still have 2 channels open for 2 ranks of mana open for you to be able to do instant, exploit, etc. effects using up to 2 dice when you do it. And then at 18th level, we have a modifier for how runes work. So now that we've ran through the base features of this, we're going to go back in and we're going to, I'm going to pick up all of this actually. No, I'm going to leave it be for now. I'm going to pick up all this and drop it into our read-along document once we get done curving through all this stuff, and then we'll build out our power list, and then we'll be done for the day. So we're doing really, really good right now. We've been active for 30 minutes. We have at least an hour left today. So let's see, how are we going to proceed? Okay, great. So we have runes, right? So here's how we've modified the rune carver. You can use magic runes to enhance your gear. You learn one rune of your choice from among the runes described below. When you reach certain levels in this class, you learn additional runes, as shown in the rune known table below. And each time you gain a level in this class, you can replace any number of runes you know with different ones from this feature. So, rune known table. The known runes here gives you 2 at 3rd level and up to 5 at 15th level, 3, 7, 10, 15, right? Well, the way that we do it is you get 5 by 18th level, you start with 1 and you end with 5. There's 5 ranks of power that you gain from level 1 through 17. So this is staying in that same mode, that same format of acquiring power over time. And these are effective. So let's look at how these things work, right? So whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch a number of objects equal to the number of runes you know, and you inscribe a different rune onto each of the objects. To be eligible, an object must be a weapon, suit of armor, shield, piece of jewelry, or something else you can wear or carry unencumbered. Your rune remains on an object until you finish a long rest, and an object can bear only one of your runes at a time. Each rune grants a sustained effect and a type of damage you can empower weapon attacks with. The sustained effect is considered locked. We talked about locked earlier, means you don't have to maintain concentration on it, and it doesn't go away unless they specifically target you with a dispel magic, if you go unconscious, or if you start a long rest, right? But you can just reactivate these things. So as an object, long rest, object, you can bear only one. Okay, great. The sustained effect is considered locked, has no mana cost, and doesn't count towards your max channel limit, but otherwise follows the rules of sustaining a locked power as detailed in the channeling powers section below, which I just explained. It stays active unless it's hit with a dispel magic effect, which only disrupts the effect until you spend an action to reactivate all of them, because the rune is still there. You just have to spend an action to trigger them all again. So being dispelled does have an effect on you, but it's not a permanent effect. And then going unconscious because, whatever reason, and then starting a long rest. Those are the 3 things. But you have a rune carved into your item. It only takes an action for you to reactivate your runes. So if they get disrupted, they can be reactivated again because they are objects, not mana effects that you're maintaining on yourself. So, I need to mute my phone. There. Let's see. The sustained effect is considered locked, has no mana cost, and doesn't. So that means that you can stack up a number of these runes because they don't count against your max channel limit. It doesn't cost you any mana to do this. So basically, what you're getting is a ton. You're getting basically 5 bonus sustained effects that you can place on yourself. And on top of that, you can stack up to 5 mana at 17th level. You can stack up to 5 sustained effects that do cost mana. So overall, these things are considered to be first rank sustained powers that cost 0 mana to sustain. So you effectively, at 18th level, you effectively have 10 mana worth of sustained effects active on your character, which is in my opinion, kind of like runes are there to create auras and effects on you. It makes sense that this character would be able to have more effects active on them at one time than any other kind of subclass that's in the game, which is exactly what the Rune Knight is currently doing. It's allowing you to load up on shitloads of auras. So let's see. The sustained effect is considered locked. Great. The type of damage you can empower ignores the minimum channeling level to learn, but otherwise follows the rules of empowered damage as detailed in the list of powers section below. So the list of powers of section below. After sustained powers, you could, instead of learning a power, you could learn feats. So if you don't want to worry about mana at all, you could just ignore all of your powers and instead just learn a crap ton of feats and just be a forever warrior. Alternatively, you can learn damage types. And so basic damage types, acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, you can learn those as early as first level. Instead of gaining a power that costs mana, you can just choose, I always deal fire damage when I make weapon attacks, or unarmed attacks are considered weapon attacks. Natural attacks are considered weapon attacks. Whenever you're making an attack with a weapon that qualifies, which is basically something that you're proficient with, then you can choose, like say I'm always going to do acid damage. So I'm going to choose that power and I will always do acid damage. By 5th level, I can learn an advanced power damage type. Force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, thunder. Right. So this description here says the type of power you can empower. The type of damage you can empower ignores the minimum channeling level to learn, but otherwise follows rules of empowered damage as detailed in the list of power section below. So there you go. So whenever you're dealing damage, if you were to, like say, the first rune we have here is Cloud Rune, right? In addition, your attacks deal thunder damage. So if I have the Cloud Rune active, I can choose to deal thunder damage if I want. If I have both the Cloud Rune and the Fire Rune active, I could choose to deal thunder damage or fire damage. Or if I'm using, like, say, a spear, I could choose to deal piercing damage. So I'd have those 3 types of damage available to me at all times. And eventually, as listed here, we could have up to 5 runes active at once, which will give us 5 types of damage that we could choose to rotate through or utilize at will. Like my spear doing, like, say, d6 damage plus 4 from strength. That would be d6 plus 4 piercing damage, thunder damage, fire damage. Take your pick. The entire damage block gets converted to something else. So that's the basic premise behind that. So what we did is we deconstructed each of the runes. Like let's take the Cloud Rune as our first example here, since that's what we're doing. So Cloud Rune. The rune emulates the deceptive magic used by some cloud giants. While wearing or carrying an object inscribed with this rune, you have advantage on dexterity sleight of hand checks and charisma deception checks. In addition, when you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to invoke the rune and choose a different creature within 30 feet of you other than the attacker. The chosen creature becomes the target of the attack using the same roll. This magic can transfer the attack's effect regardless of the attack's range. Once you invoke this rune, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. So, what we're going to do is we're going to break this down. We're going to take, there is the deceptive magic, and there is the redirecting damage, one of the most popular things you can do with Rune Knight. So what we're going to do is instead, what we do is we break down the sustained effect. It costs 0 mana to sustain this effect, which is you have advantage on dexterity sleight of hand, and you have advantage on charisma deception checks. That's a 0 cost aura. There you go. So that as long as you have your Cloud Rune inscribed, that'll remain active for you. And in addition, while this is active, you get thunder damage. Thunder for Cloud makes sense. Now, here's the kicker thing. The Cloud Rune, the rule emulates the deceptive magic. No. When you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to invoke the rune and choose a different creature within 30 feet of you other than the attacker. The chosen creature becomes the target of the attack using the same roll. This magic can transfer the attack's effects regardless of the attack's range. Once you invoke this rune, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. So you basically get like maybe 2, maybe 3 times a day. So what are we doing? It's a reaction power. So let's go ahead and take a look at reaction powers real quick. I've already swept through these, and there is no reaction effect that duplicates what this does. We have deflection, which re-rolls an attack roll, and you can't crit as a result of that re-roll. There's feint, which allows me to re-roll my attack roll if I miss. There's interpose, which is I can take any amount of damage and gain resistance to that attack on behalf of an ally that I'm adjacent to. There is parry, which is as a reaction. I can roll 1 power die per mana burned and reduce the amount of damage, reducing the damage by the combined result. When another creature you can see, it's not adjacent to me. Interpose is I can take damage for my friend if I'm adjacent to them. Parry is if I can see you. You can roll, right, as a reaction to when another creature you can see, damages me, I can roll 1 power die and reduce the damage that I take. Interpose is I take damage for a friend. Parry is I am rolling to reduce your damage. But then we have higher level stuff like, and that's a defense barrier that creates a shell that creates full cover. So an attack roll would automatically miss because you now have full cover. So that's a pretty cool thing. But there's nothing in here currently that directly translates this effect to redirect damage. So that means we get to create a new power, and we will then be able to grant that power as a bonus power list. So we remove it from the rune, and we instead offer it as a bonus power to the 10 powers that you get. So that's how we're rebuilding all the runes. Free aura effect, free damage type, and then each of these runes has a kicker effect that we're converting into a power that we would then add to the power list, and it'll have a cost to use it. So we're going to rebuild this reaction here real quick. And so let's see, what are we going to call it? We're going to call this redirect. Let's just call it redirect. If we can find a better name in the future, thank you. But for now, that's what it is. As a reaction to, let's do it this way. When a creature you can see hits with an attack. Hold on. When a creature you can see hits another creature with an attack, you can use a reaction to redirect the damage and effect of the attack to target another creature you can see within 30 feet of you. The new target, if the attack roll, how do I want to word that? If the attack roll if the attacker's roll, if the initial attack roll hits the new target, I don't think I'm reading this correctly. If the same attack roll hits the new target, that's how I want to do this. They are redirect the attack to target, redirect the attack to target another creature you can see within 30 feet of you. If the same attack roll hits the new target, they take the damage, take any damage, they take any damage and are subject to any additional effects from the attack. That's probably crappy wording, but that's why we hire an editor to fix that stuff. But that's our reaction. Okay, great. So the attack can come from any range. It doesn't have to be within 30 feet. It can still redirect to any other target that you can see. What is the value of redirect? Is it a reaction of 3 mana, 2 mana, or 1 mana? Great question. So let's go in and look at some comparable reactions that currently exist to see where it might sensibly sit. Countering attack. As a reaction to when an enemy within range, so these are reactions. So you spend the mana before you use the reaction or as part of the reaction. So like say countering attack, it's 2 mana. As a reaction to when an enemy within range of your weapon attack casts a spell, make an opportunity attack. If it hits, the caster takes damage and must make a Constitution saving throw against your channel DC or half the damage dealt, whichever is greater. If the save fails, the spell is disrupted as though affected by counterspell. Counterspell is a 3rd level spell. This is a 2 mana effect, which is effectively a 2nd level spell value. So it's less expensive than counterattack, but it also requires that you make an opportunity attack against the target, so you have to be within range of them to do that, and there's a chance that you're going to miss. So those chances of missing, plus them getting a saving throw on top of it, is what's reducing the cost of it from 3rd to 2nd level rank. Same difference. Because in the color mana system that we have, a 1st level spell costs 1 mana, a 9th level spell costs 9, because a 9th level spell should cost 9 times what a 1st level spell costs, not 6.5 times. In the system in the DMG, it costs 2 mana. It costs 2 spell points to cast a 1st level spell, but only 13 to cast a 9th level spell, which means a 9th level spell is only 6.5 times more powerful than a 1st level spell, which means Wizards of the Coast never really wants you to use spell points, but they gave it to you just to shut people up. So I don't think that's operating in good faith. They could have made the entire system super simple by making it just 1 point per spell level, 1 sorcery point to get a 1st level spell, and calibrate the game accordingly. But they didn't. Why? Because mana is so much better than spell slots, and spell slots are legacy. You can't get rid of spell slots because that's what D&D is. And they don't want to chase away the grognards, although they seem to want to chase away the grognards these days. I don't understand them. I'm punching up right now because I don't think that Wizards of the Coast really has all of their machines moving in the same direction. I think there's some major marketing and PR contrasts with their design goals, which also contrasts with how the game is actually played, which contrasts with what a lot of people actually want. So there's a lot of variables going on there. I'm just trying to make things a lot simpler and easier for people to use and have more fun with, and have more ways to use the tools, which is what we're building right now. So, having said all that, snark aside, putting the cestus away so I ain't punching up anymore. I don't think the redirect reaction is more powerful than counterspell. So that tells me it's probably going to be a second rank power. But let's look at hexproof. As a reaction to when a creature you can see targets you with a spell or magical effect, the creature must succeed a charisma saving throw at disadvantage, or you are unaffected and the effect is wasted. And the spell or effect is wasted. Hexproof is pretty damn good, but I don't think it's necessarily as good as redirect. So we're gonna call it 2. We're gonna call redirect 2 mana. Redirect. So that means we get to add redirect to our lexicon. Period. As a reaction to when a creature you can see is hit, a creature you can see hits another creature with an attack, you can redirect the attack to another. We can redirect the attack to target another creature you can see within 30 feet of you, comma, even if the attacking creature would not normally be able to do so. Period. There. If the same attack roll hits the new creature, they take any damage and are subject to any additional effects from that attack. There we go. Now we can add redirect as a second rank power. Bam. There you go. So when you pick it up, you would not gain this at any levels. It's second rank. It's just automatically added. It's a second rank power, so the earliest you can have it is 5th level. So we get it at 5th level. There you go. And then it's just, you don't have to pick the rune. It's just automatically added to your kit at 5th level. So that solves that. And we can remove that from the cloud rune. Fire rune, sustained effect. Gain expertise when using tools you're proficient with. In addition, you can your attacks can deal fire damage. And the kicker effect, let's look at the kicker effect. You're gonna love this. This is great. In addition, when you hit a creature with an attack using a weapon, you can invoke the rune to summon fiery shackles. The target takes an additional 2d6 fire damage, and it must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained for 1 minute. While restrained by the shackles, the target takes 2d6 fire damage at the start of each of its turns. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, banishing the shackles on a success. Once you invoke the rune, you can do so again. You can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. So you basically have this at best twice. It restrains. It's when you hit a creature with a weapon, attacking using a weapon, which could be ranged, you're going to deal an extra 2d6 fire damage, and it's going to restrain the target if they fail their saving throw. And it deals ongoing fire damage each round for up to a minute. And they can make a saving throw at the end of each of its turns to end the effect, right? So those are the parameters that we have. What have we done instead? We have strike. 2, restraining strike. This already exists in the game. It's a strike power, so let's go to our strikes. Let's go to second rank strikes. Restraining strike. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned, and it's a second rank power, so it takes at least 2 mana, though you could ramp it up to 5 mana if you get once you get to 17th level. You could dump up to 5 mana into it. But as it stands, it's a restraining strike. It takes 2 mana. At 5th level, you guessed it, we're rolling a d6 at 5th level, so you're automatically, when you channel this power, you're automatically doing 2d6 extra damage. And because it's a fire rune, you can choose to deal. You can now, in addition, your attacks can deal fire damage. So you could spend 2 mana, trigger a restraining strike, deal fire damage with it if you want to, and the creature is automatically restrained until they succeed a strength save at the end of each of its turns. It doesn't do ongoing fire damage, but it automatically triggers. So that is a big bonus. That definitely is an offset to the ongoing fire damage. And it only costs 2 mana to use. So by the time, let's say, you could take this rune, it's a second rank power, so by the time you get at 5th level, you've already got 5 mana. Currently, you could use it twice a day. With this system, at 5th level, when you first get it, you can use it twice per short rest. Twice per short rest, or because you're a fighter, at 5th level, you can spend, if you make an attack roll and you hit, you could choose to skip your second attack to get a free point of mana. And if you choose to do that, you could use the restraining strike. It costs 2. We just gave you a free point of temporary mana for ditching an attack, and you could then just use 1 point of mana from your mana pool. That means that if you hit on the first attack during your attack action, you can use restraining strike, dealing fire damage, dealing 2d6 damage for 1 mana. If you wanted to instead go further down the rabbit hole, you could choose a feat, either at 4th level. You can't choose at 4th level, you have to be at least 5th. So at 6th level, you could choose a feat, or at 5th level, you could choose to learn Efficient Power. Efficient Power is a meta power feat. Efficient Power allows you to select a power of second rank or higher. Reduce the rank and amount of mana to channel the power by 1. This doesn't modify any kicker cost, like giant size being size huge is a kicker cost. So that wouldn't apply. But for the sake of this conversation with restraining strike, if you decided to learn and you gain this for free at 5th level, and if you decided to take one of the powers, you can, when you gain 5th level, you can take all 6 powers and swap them out for new powers. And every time a fighter takes a short rest, they can also swap out a power. And at long rest, they can swap out all of their powers. A hybrid character like artificer, paladin, ranger, they can swap out a power, 1 power every time they take a long rest, and they can swap out all their powers and spells when they gain a level. So the martial classes have less battery per long rest, but they have more flexibility in switching up what they have. Like I have a restraining strike right now, but instead I want to swap that out and gain, the chef feat. I'm gonna learn that for a while. I'm gonna do some cooking because I have power, baby. So I'm gonna be a power chef for a while, and then I'm gonna take the exploit that gives me advantage on my intelligence checks when I'm chefing, or gain proficiency with chef tools so that I can apply my proficiency. And then I'm gonna burn mana so I have expertise when I make that chef check, and I'm gonna make you the absolute best souffle you've ever seen. That's how it works. So restraining strike. There you go. We gain restraining strike. Let's fit restraining strike in here at restraining strike is a second rank power, so that can't be at 3rd. Redirect. There you go. Restraining strike. Strike 2. Strike 2. So far, so good, right? So these runes become much less necessary. They're not like the the rune, like the cool extra benefit. Like people don't get these because of the aura effect. They get it because of the kicker effect that they provide for you. And we're converting those kickers into things that you automatically get as you gain levels. You could pick all these things at 5th level if you wanted to learn all of them, but you'll eventually get all of them anyway as you gain levels. So as you get them for free, you can take them off of your list and choose something else because you just got it for free. There you go. So next, Frost Rune. Frost Rune. Sustained effect. Gain advantage on wisdom, animal handling, and charisma intimidation checks. In addition, your attacks now deal cold damage. And as a sustained power, 1, gain +2 to all strength and con checks and saves. That's pretty damn good. Let's see if there's something comparable to all strength and con checks. Let's go find it. Let's find out. I know we have some things that do stuff like that. And I think they're first rank powers. They might be second. Let's find out. Strikes, sustain. There's not a ton of sustained powers right now. But we can do a ridiculous amount of expansions of this. Like, I can just add on 10 powers and put it as a pay what you want and just drop it on the DMsGuild. Here you go. Use these too. Let's see what's out there. Inspired skill. When you sustain this power, you gain proficiency in a skill or tool of your choice. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different skill or tool with each channeling. This is just an incredible thing just to have access to, because at any time you can just lock a point of mana and now you're proficient in whatever you need to know how to do. Super useful utility ability that's just by itself puts martial characters in the ability to basically perform any kind of skills or tools that they need. Some might say that that waters down the flavor, but if you're in a would you rather have watered down flavor where anyone could choose to have access to any skills that they want and become proficient with them, or would you rather your fighter not be able to participate in the current social encounter because they don't have any good skills and intelligence is their, and like charisma is their dump stat? This way, with inspired skill, when you're sustaining this power, you gain proficiency in a skill. And when you gain proficiency in a skill, you can go up to the exploits and start burning mana on the fly. Every time you roll a die, you can like gain expertise if you're proficient in it already. So you can sustain, like say, you can sustain perception, and then you could trigger a point of mana to gain expertise in it, and then you could burn a reaction to re-roll the die as expertise. There's a lot of ways for you to burn mana to make sure that you're going to succeed at skill checks. And that allows skill checks to become a way that any martial can more engage with exploration and social encounters the same way that they deal with combat, by throwing dice at the problem. So it stays inside of what martial characters generally do, throw dice at threats and resolve them with numbers. And this system allows you to do the same thing by using skill checks and skill challenges. So that's the premise behind it. So we're hunting for equivalents. Hunting for equivalents. Well, we don't have anything here at the first ranks. Oh, what? Trap Springer? Nah, doesn't really count. Astute. When sustaining this power, gain advantage on intelligence and wisdom checks. +2 on all strength and con checks and saves. Strength checks and saves. Astute. Gain advantage. Let's go find it. Quick. No. Sturdy. While sustaining this power, gain advantage on constitution and strength checks. What else we got? Let's see. What about saving throws? Let's see. What do we got? Impact, fast, inspired skill. Well, we definitely get sturdy, so that makes sense. And where did it? What did I just do? Sturdy, like a lobster. Sturdy is sustain 2. Give me a second. Okay, it's a second rank power, so it has to be at least 5th. We only get 2 per level, so that fills that up. So sturdy is going to be 9th level. Granted, you can learn it on your own at 5th level, and you'll eventually get it for free at 9th level. So if you really want to have sturdy earlier, you can learn it earlier, and that's fine. Sturdy is sus 2. And again, you get it for free, but you could also choose to learn the efficient power feat and apply it to sturdy. So sturdy would then drop in cost to only 1 mana. So if you think that sturdy is too expensive as an ongoing effect, always have advantage on strength and constitution ability checks. This is what is it? Advantage? Hold on. Let's double check the language here real quick. Advantage. Okay, so that's advantage, but this only gives you a +2 bonus. Advantage is arguably much better than a +2 bonus. So yeah, that's appropriate as a second rank power. I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty happy with that. +2 bonus, yeah, +2 is not as good as advantage. So I'm happy with keeping the advantage. If you want to buy down that cost, that's your choice. You have a 16 powers to learn on top of the stuff the 10 that you're gonna get for free, and the 5 auras that you get. So you're getting a shitload of value here. You're gonna have to pay for some of it, and I think that's fair. But we're still looking for mana stuff. So we got 1, 2, 3 here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Daunting Presence, haste. Nope, doesn't look like we have anything else there. Let's see. We're looking for things. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, weapon resistance. When you channel this power, you gain resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. That's a 2-rank power that you could buy down to 1. That's what I love about this is you can buy things down. Like you don't have to use mana nearly as much as you if you reduce the amount of things you can do them more often because you're hyper specializing in paying down, like reducing the cost of the things that you want to be able to do a lot. And some of the like Arcane Archer, for instance, can reduce the cost of strikes that they learn by up to 2 mana. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Let's see, but we have that, so let's go down. I think we have exploits that give advantage on saving throws. Let's see if that's true. Let's see. I'm going to go down to the exploits. I want to say you have to be at least second. I'm sure they're at least second rank. Oh, it must be a reaction. Is it a reaction? That seems kind of... That's going to be a little bitter. Hold on. There might actually be value here. Hold on. Great Fortitude. As a reaction to failing a strength or a constitution saving throw, re-roll the d20 and take the better result, potentially changing the fail roll into a successful one. Iron Will, Charisma, and Wisdom saving throw. Huh. And then Lightning Reflexes is as a reaction. Deflection, Downtrodden. What about... and those are 1 mana. But it's not just ongoing advantage. So let's see what else we got going on. Advantage, huh? Those are reactions. What about exploits? Bonus attack, coordinated dash, flatten, goad, healing radiance, rally, swift, distract, lethargy, phase, pack, shunt, lift. Huh, okay. Don't have any exploits that just grant advantage on saving throws. Interesting. Looking for it, not finding it. These are reactions. Empowered defense. As a reaction to when you're hit by an attack roll from a source, and you can see roll a number of power dice equal to the mana burn. You gain a bonus to armor class equal to the highest die result, potentially turning a hit into a miss. Meh. As a reaction to failing a saving throw that you reroll. Okay. Lightning reflexes. Fail a saving throw, reroll. As a reaction to rolling an ability check, you can re-roll the d20 and take the higher result. After learning you can do so after learning the result of the check. You can re-roll the d20. Potentially changing the failure into success. Potentially resulting in the check succeeding. Better language. But we do not have something that grants advantage, so do we have resilient? Where the hell is that? Let's go down to it. Resilient. Resilient. When making a saving, what is this? Reaction? It's a first rank exploit. Thank you. Resilient. When making a saving throw, you can roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. When making a saving throw, you can roll 1 power die per mana. Checking one more time. This is the job. This is what we get paid to do. Fate, anchor, hypnosis. Rogue, swift assessment, trap springer, astute, Castigate, close quarter combat, Cloud Strider, and uses Sustain, can fly, Featherfall, Presence, Giant Growth, Mind Sense, Opportunist, Quick, Strange Metabolism, Sturdy, Unnatural Resistance, Weapon Resistance, Disarming Presence, Daunting Presence, Flurry, Celerity, Frenzied Attack, Indestructible. Okay, so there's literally nothing out there that does this. So that means we are clear. Resilient isn't a good one. What's another word for resilient? Let's go with synonym resilient. Adaptable, flexible, pliable, pliant, supple, plastic, elastic, springy, rubbery, durable, hard-wearing, stout, strong, sturdy, tough. Define bolster. A long thick pillow that's placed under other pillows for support. Support or strengthen, prop up. Okay, let's go with synonym bolster. Pillow. Reinforce. How we doing? Okay, we're still doing okay. We got some time left. Yeah, we're doing great. Let's see. Anyone out there has an idea about? So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a first. Okay, so let's just define what the power is so we can see if we can come up with a name for it. So we're gonna make it a first rank power, and blah. While sustaining this power, you gain advantage on. While sustaining this power, choose a saving throw. You gain advantage choose an ability. While sustaining this power, choose an ability. You gain advantage on saving throws using the ability on those saving throws. I think that's probably good enough language. At least for now. Period. You can channel this power more than once simultaneously, choosing a different ability score with each channeling. It's not resistance, it's not survival, it's not, I already have resilience. Advantageous save is so meta, I hate it. What's up? Let's just go with synonym for save. Rescue, snatch, bail out, bring off, set aside, free, delivery, extricate. It's like defense is more like armor class. Saving throw, resilience, resistance. What's a good name for that? What's a good name for blah? Can't stay blah. While sustaining his power, choose an ability. You gain advantage on choose an ability. While sustaining his power, you have advantage on saving throws with one ability of your choice, period. You can channel this power more than once, simultaneously choosing a different ability score with each channeling. God, I'm really just choking on the name of this. There's like magic resistance, which you get saving throws against magic effects. Damn it. Okay, I think I've got this figured out now. I've got it. Get back, Loretta. Saving grace. Nice. We're going to call it Saving Grace. I don't know if that's a great name or not, but at least gets me past this damn hurdle. There. Saving Grace. Sus one. Perfect. Finally, off my plate. All right. So next, Hill Rune, sustained effect, advantage on save versus poison, and plus resist poison damage. I am okay with that as is because poison is generally a very, very weak saving throw, and it's only resistance. It's not immunity. So I'm okay with that. And in addition, your attacks can deal poison damage. Also okay with that. Sustained power, gain resistance to non-magical BPS. That's the overall effect. So, we have an effect for that already, which I believe is just called weapon resistance. Let's go check it out and find out. Yeah, we just saw that. It should be a second rank power, right? Yeah, weapon resistance. When you gain this power, you gain resistance to non-magical bludgeon, piercing, and slashing attacks. That's weapon resistance. And they gain that at 7th level because it's a hill. It's the hill rune. So sticking with our general motif of not outranking, we will gain it at 9th, which is weapon sturdy, comma, weapon resistance, which is sus 2. Get that out of here. Stone. We got 2 more. That's awesome. And then we'll look at the kicker effects that we have. So, Stone Rune. Advantage on Wisdom, Insight, and Dark Vision 120 feet. In addition, you can deal force damage, because I couldn't think of anything better for Stone. Good enough. When a target is within 30 feet, Wisdom save or Charmed. Reducing speed to 0, incapacitated until taking damage. It's basically the sleep spell. You're basically hitting something. Is a wisdom save or charmed, reducing speed. Yeah, maneuver 2 is appropriate for that. Let's call it. Let's check out what maneuvers we have, because maneuvers can force people to make saving throws or have detrimental effects that they have to save to get out of, or another condition stipulates that it ends. So this is meeting all of the prerequisites of being a maneuver. So we will call this a maneuver, which is exciting. This will be our first maneuver. Let's see. These are reactions. Let's get into maneuvers. Maneuver. We'll start at 4 and work our way down, because there's no way. Incapacitator. While grappling, you can deal 1 power damage, 1 power die of weapon damage per mana burned to the grappled creature, and force it to make a Constitution saving throw. If the save fails, the creature becomes unconscious until the creature takes damage, succeeds a Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns, or the grapple ends. Your choice. Wave of Terror, Telekinetic Bubble, Flicker Pounce, Double Strike, Curse of Enfeeblement. You curse a creature that you can see to deal half damage with attacks until the target succeeds a Strength saving throw at the end of each of its turns. At the end of each turn. Thank you. Lift, no. Shunt, no. Regenerate, no. Pack Tactics, Phase, Lethargy. Charisma save, fail equals no move or bonus action until succeed at the end of its turn. So it's somewhere around this lethargy mark. Distract, target creature you can see within 30 feet makes a cost save. Fail equals no reactions until succeed at the end of its turns. Cursed brand, cursed creature can see, make save against your powers with disadvantage. I love that. Cursed brand, disadvantage. That's so great. The effect ends if the creature succeeds a save against them. Cursed brand is so great. 2 mana, target a creature. It's going to have disadvantage on all saving throws that you force it to make using your powers, and it continues to fail. The only way it gets out of it is by succeeding a saving throw against you. But it's not all saving throws, it's just yours against your powers. So this is like single target DPS heaven. Swift Attunement, Resuscitation, Restraining Hold. That's for melee, is grappling only. Does okay, fine. Morale, Goad. See that you can see and hear you. Makes attacks against creatures other than you. Disadvantage until it succeeds at hitting you, or it succeeds a Wisdom saving throw at the end of its turns. Muddled Mind. You curse the target. You can see to roll ability checks and concentration checks with disadvantage. The creature can make an intelligence saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect when it succeeds. Curse of the Eyeless. Reduce attack rolls by the highest die roll of a power die per mana burned. The creature can make an intelligence ending the effect when it succeeds. Coordinated dash. Attack. Brand of Axiom. Illusion. Bonus attack. Sleep's a 2nd level spell, isn't it? I think this is a sleep spell. So 5e sleep. Thank you. Roll 20. Snap to it. That's the first level. Single creature. Okay. When target is within 30 feet, wisdom, save, or charmed. Reducing speed to 0 and incapacitated until taking damage. I'm okay with this being a maneuver 1. Let's call it Beguiling Twist. Fey Wanderer, huh? Okay, let's just call it Beguile. I like that. Ooh, up front. Beguile. Beguiling Influence. Let's do that. When a creature that can see and hear you well, how do I want to do? But it's incapacitated. But that's sleep. Sleep incapacitates too. Even worse, it makes them unconscious. Doesn't their speed get reduced to 0 and incapacitated? Isn't that redundant? Isn't their speed drop to 0 when you're incapacitated anyway? Okay, how do we word this? When a creature, you can target a creature you can see that can see and hear you. You can target a creature that you can see and target a creature that you can see. Target a creature you can see that can also that you can that you can see that can also see. You can target a creature that you can see that can also see and hear you. That can also see you. If the is charmed, reducing its speed to 0. We'll leave that in for now. And incapacitated until it takes damage or succeeds a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns. End of each of its turns. At the end of each of its turns. Once a creature don't think we have a once per day effect out there. Period. Has to make a save. It's incapacitated until it takes damage, or until it takes damage, or an action is used to shake the target awake. There we go. Perfect. And we're going to call this Beguile. So that's good to go. I'm happy with that. It's just like a friend's sort of sleep effect. I think that's going to fit okay. We'll call it, let's call it Beguiling Slumber. Beguiling Trance. There you go. Nice. And then we get to add Beguiling Trance. Blah, 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 blah. Last one on the block. Storm Rune. Sustained effect. Advantage on intelligence arcana checks and can't be surprised. I'm okay with it. It's a little... surprise happens. Surprise only happens if there's a chance of being surprised and you don't win the initiative check. So... there's a very mild chance that a character is going to get surprised at any given time. So this is actually decent. Reaction. Any creature you can see making an attack, save, or check, you can use your reaction to grant advantage or disadvantage. That's Silvery Barbs, kind of. Kind of. Let's... it's a reaction. So let's check out our reactions real quick. And this is the last thing we have to modify. Then we're pretty much done, other than picking out an extra maneuver. Whew, nice. So let's see. We're going to go to the reactions. What do we got? All right, Revival. Stolen Fate. As a reaction to when a creature you can see within 30 feet makes an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, you can curse them to roll again. They use the lower d20 results, and you can use the higher result when you roll a d20, replacing your roll if you choose for one ability check. Yeah, you know what? That's kind of complicated. Let's go to... Stolen Fate, and what's the second one? Phantom, huh? Let's call it Fickle Fortune instead. No, we'll call it Fickle Fate. There you go. And we'll simplify it. Fickle Fate. Master of Fate, Fickle Fate. Get out of here. I just had the Phantom. Where the hell did it go? Hold on. Almost there. We're so close. Almost there. Stay on target. Rogue. Phantom. Fickle Fortune. Thank you. Fickle Fate. There you go. Fickle Fate. As a reaction to when a creature you can see... No, that's not how we're doing it. And it's 2 mana. That's good. So... As a reaction to any creature you see... There you go. As a reaction to when a creature you can see... makes an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, you can choose... That's, I think, a lot more fun. Fickle Fate. And it's a reaction too. Almost all of these things have been 2 mana actions or options. Nice. Redirect. I'm going to push Restraining Strike back to 13. We're going to add Fickle Fate in at 5th. No. Fickle Fate. That is reaction 2, comma. All right. Now, hit the save button here. Cut here. Go with list of runes. Cloud rune, fire rune, frost rune, hill rune, stone rune, storm rune. No. Now, what are the rules for Rune Carver? There. Runes known table. Bonus proficiency. And this thing is called Giant's Might. You learn the Giant grows sustained power as a first rank power that you can sustain with 1 mana to increase your size to large. You gain a skilled feat, language of your choice. Cool. Runic Shield is 7th. Runic shield. As a reaction to when a creature within 60 feet of you is hit by an attack, you can spend 1 mana, causing the attack to reroll, taking the new result. Attack to reroll. That feels like an ability that we already have. Hold on. Reaction. Interpose. Nope. Opt feint. Deflection. As a reaction to when you or an ally within reach of your melee attack are hit by an attack roll. From a source you can see, the attack is rerolled, taking the new one. Causing the attack to reroll, taking the new result. Deflection. As a reaction to when a creature... Runic shield. You gain the... deflection reaction power yeah, we're just gonna leave it be. Runic shield. The difference here is deflection is any creature that is within melee range of you. Oh, as an opportunity attack. Oh my god, that's so fun. As an opportunity attack. Okay, as a reaction. Nice. As a reaction. As a reaction that is considered an opportunity attack, nope, that's how we're going to do it. As a reaction to the reason I want to point out this is an opportunity attack is because we have options in here that allow you to exchange attacks during your action to gain additional opportunity attacks. So like an 11th level fighter that uses the opportunist power can cash in all 3 of its attacks and instead just make a series of opportunity attacks instead. So this would allow a defensive fighter to make potentially 4 reactions, like an 11th level fighter, potentially make 4 reactions per round to neutralize those attacks. I can swap out, I can swap out all these things to become opportunity, treat them as opportunity attacks. God, I fucking love that. That is awesome. That is awesome. This was so worth the time. So worth the time. Great stature. Oh my god, that's awesome. Great stature, 10th. That is awesome. When you gain 10th level, giant magic makes you big. Your height increases 3 to 4. That's horrible. In addition, you can place one rune. Okay, so here's the kicker effects that I hadn't gotten to, but now that we know how the runes work, right? It's a 0 cost sustained effect that doesn't block any channels. So here's your kicker. Great stature. When you gain blah, blah, blah. In addition, let's separate these. In addition, you can replace one rune you know with a sustained power. You can replace one rune you know with a sustained power up to first rank, including the giant growth power gained with Giant Might's feature. This sustained power has a mana cost of 0, and the power is considered locked without counting towards your max channel limit. When you gain a fighter level, you can choose a different first rank sustained power you know to modify this way. There you go. So any first rank sustained power that you know, or you basically you can just choose one. You can choose a first rank power to become a rune that you know. That first rank power has a 0 cost, doesn't block any channels, and is considered locked. So like Adept Craftsman, when making an ability check that can use tools you're proficient with, roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest result to your result. Adding the highest die to your results. We're going to have to put some caveat language in here. If a sustained power would roll a number of power dice equal to the mana channeled, this power if a sustained power would roll a number of power dice equal to the mana channeled, roll 1 die, 1 power die, without roll 1 power die without spending you can roll 1 or spend 2 or more mana to roll additional dice as normal. Period. That's good enough. For now, anyway. 15, Runic Juggernaut. We know how that works. Runic Juggernaut. You can channel Giant Growth as a second rank power that you can sustain with 2 mana to increase your size to huge. And then 18th, Master of Runes. You can add a second sustained power up to 2nd level to the list of runes above, requiring 0 mana to sustain, including Giant Growth power gained from your Runic Juggernaut feature. When you gain a fighter level, you can choose 1 or 2 new powers to modify this way. You can to 2 sustained powers. You can choose up to 2 sustained powers. Both can be up to 2nd rank. You can choose up to 2 sustained powers instead of the list of runes above, period. Both powers can be up to 2nd rank, requiring 0 mana to sustain, including the giant growth power gained, from the Runic Juggernaut feature. When you gain a fighter level, you can choose 2 new powers. Instead of runes. You can choose 2 different powers. You can choose up to 2 different powers to modify this way. Period. And then we'll have the same caveat language. You can choose a different power, a different sustained power to modify a different sustained power to modify this way. When you gain additional fighter level, you can choose up to 2 different powers, 2 different sustained powers to modify this way. Period. There we go. That's our class. But we need to pick out a few powers here real quick. So let's go to, we got a bunch of 1st and 2nd. So let's jump into, let's look at some strikes real quick. And I'm going to now close this without saving. Here we have Fickle Fate. So let's dive into our list here real quick and let's look at, so we have sustained, maneuver, reactions, sustained reactions. We don't have any exploits and we don't have any, we have a maneuver, we have a strike, maneuver, sustain. We don't have, we have a reaction, 1. I think we need another strike. I want to go find an exploit, see if there's any cool exploits. And then we'll be done. And we need to be done. We're at our time. Yeah, we're almost at 2 hours. So that's pretty much our limit. So let's just finish this up real fast and be done for the day. So exploits. Are there any cool high-level exploits that we can toss in? Unstoppable. When an effect or condition other than incapacitated or death reduces your movement to 0, you can ignore the movement penalty for 1 round during your turn, though you might not be able to take any other action. Not so much. Precise attack, phase attack, and powered synergy. When you use a bonus action to channel a maneuver, you can make a weapon attack as part of cooperative effort. Not so much. Bursting damage for a strike. Opportunistic, no. veterinary train unnerving focus. When you make an ability check that can use an intimidation skill or while rolling to determine if you maintain concentration, roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. It's not horrible. When using tools that you can hold in one hand would normally require an action, you can instead use the tool as an object interaction. Resilience, when making a saving throw, you can roll 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest roll to your result. Range strike, proselytize, ground fighting, inquisitive, master burglar, overrun. Channel this exploit as part of a move action. You can move through spaces occupied by creatures. This movement can trigger opportunity attacks unless you kick this power burning 3 or more mana. Creatures move through this way take 1 power die of force damage for each mana burned. If you end your turn in a space occupied by another creature, you instead end your turn in the most recently unoccupied space that you move through during your turn without dealing any damage to the creature. Creatures can only take damage this way once per turn. Yeah, I like Overrun. Let's use that. That's an exploit. It's a 1 rank exploit. That's freaking great. But let's take redirect and push it up to here, and then let's add overrun down here, which is an exploit 1. Nice. So we're done. I think we're done with the exploits for now. Resilience. When you make a saving throw, you can add 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest roll to your result. Let's go check out strikes. Let's go see if there's any cool strikes that we want that are high level. I mean, thundering strikes are a pretty good one. Your weapon can deal thunder damage and add 1 power die per mana burn. A creature up to 1 size larger than you is pushed back from you in the direction of the target. Is pushed directly away. Is pushed back directly from you. Up to 10 feet for each point of mana burned. Thundering Strike's a pretty good one. Provoking Strike, Restraining Strike. I add Thundering Strike to a lot of stuff, so let's see if I can do something different. I like Thundering Strike a lot, so it's a cheap board management ability. Okay, well, hold on. Let's see if there's a 3rd rank sustained power that we can... no. Close quarter combat, Deadly Presence, Trap Springer, Swift Assessment, Saving Grace, Rogue Stance, Power Shield, Ranged Assault. While sustaining this power, you gain the following benefits. Strikes can be channeled when you hit a target with a thrown weapon at far range. Strikes can be channeled when you hit a target with a ranged weapon at normal range. You can create temporary non-magical weapons or ammunition for ranged weapons of your choice while making a thrown or ranged attack, which disappears after finishing the attack. Nah. Lycanthropy, that'd be great. Elemental Resistance might not be a bad one. Dire Impact isn't horrible. Yeah, let's go with Elemental Resistance. That's a good one. No, hold on. Before we go with that, let's see if there's anything nice and high level that feels good. No? Nope. Let's check out maneuvers, see if there's any high level maneuvers. Fellow magical effect, the creature must succeed a charisma saving throw at disadvantage or you are unaffected and the spell or effect is wasted. Hexproof. Hexproof is so good. It's 3 mana. It's a reaction. When a creature you can see targets you with a spell or magical effect, the creature must succeed a charisma saving throw at disadvantage or you are unaffected. Yeah, I like hexproof. We're going to do that. There we go. We have finished the rune, the Rune Knight. Oh, God, this guy is hoss as fuck, dude. So just before we walk away, let's look at some sustained powers. Let's get second rank sustained powers that you can pick up 2 of these. At 18th level, you get 2 free sustained powers. And you get 3 other runes. And then you have 5 levels worth, or 5 ranks worth of powers that you could also sustain on top of this. So that's 3 runes, 4 free mana worth of sustained effects, and 5 more on top of that. That's a shitload. You could technically take efficient power for a 3rd rank sustained effect, drop that effect to 2nd rank, and then pick that up for the cost of 4 powers in your features. So let's start looking at how ridiculous this shit can get. You could pick up Opportunist, which is while this power is sustained, when you take the attack action, you can forgo any number of attacks during your turn to gain an equal number of additional opportunity attacks, limited to 1 per turn, including your own, that can be used before your next turn. So you could pick up Opportunist, use efficient. Well, no, Opportunist is already 2. Jesus. Well, you could drop it down to 1, but whatever. But this would allow like an 11th level fighter could pick this up. Yeah, that's what you could do, because at 10th level you gain the feature. So at 11th level, no, it's only 2nd. Yeah, at 11th level you can pick this up. So when you gain that feature at 10th, sorry, you gain the feature at 10th level. I'm catching up. So we gain the Master of Runes. The Great Stature, which is you can take a 1st rank power and make it 0 cost. And so we can take Opportunist, and then making it an efficient power, make that efficient power a 1st rank, so Opportunist becomes a 1st rank power. So at 10th level, when we pick up this ability, we can then pick up Opportunist as our Great Stature ability, and then at 11th level, as a fighter, when we gain our 3rd attack per attack action, we could bail all of our attack actions and instead get 3 from Opportunist, plus our normal reaction. We could have 4 opportunity attacks per round that we can make against people for 0 cost. Holy shit, that's good. Oh, that's super cool. You can pick up Mind Sense. We already have Giant Growth, but you could obviously use that. Deadly Presence, which is with this power, while this power is sustained and you are not restrained, stunned, paralyzed, or incapacitated, in each creature you can see that begins its turn or moves within reach of your melee attack takes 1 power die of damage per mana sustained. And since this would be a 0 cost, it would default to 1 power die. At 11th level, that would be a D8. So anyone takes, it's basically like a super small, tight Spirit Guardian, or Guardian Spirits. There you go. Holy shit. Man, if you guys stuck around with me this long to the end, check out this document. Again, you can peel this thing open. You can go in here into the Patreon and then scroll down. And you don't have to be a patron to have access to this. It's open to everybody. You can scroll down here to the playtest content for martial powers. Click on that. It opens up this document that we're literally looking at right now. You can scroll down here to page 20. To see what we're building here, our list of runes. And you could go down here to page 54. And let me know in the comments down below what two sustained powers would you want to have added to your rune selection. There you go. That's your challenge. That's the playtesting that we're going to be doing. We're going to build characters using this stuff, and we're going to run around in hex crawls and dungeon crawls and beat up stuff and have random encounters and just have a real ad hoc Gonzo style campaign. Just to have some mischief and throw dice around and see how different people mess with stuff and then see if anything's too strong, and if it is, modify it accordingly. So, god damn, this is fun, man. I hope you guys think this stuff is as cool as I love making it. This is all going to be on the DMsGuild. If you check the description down below, again, you can have access to these different things, like find out more about my work on the 5-color mana spell point variant rules set here. As you can see, here's the bundle, the same bundle that we have here. All these things, like if I were to pick the Tap and Tap Burn Core Mechanics book, as you can see here, it's a 75-page document. We can then click on the full preview, open it up. 75 pages. It's a complete preview. Here, check this out. We can even click on simplified durations, and it'll take us down to the difference between persistent spells, instantaneous spells, and concentration effects. Like, you can use all of this stuff. So when this book is published, it'll also have this same amount of preview. So jump on now, play with it, kick around. If you want to be part of if you want to potentially be a part of the playtesting that's going on, I'm giving preferential seat placement and scheduling to people that are at least a $1 patron on my Patreon. So thanks a lot, guys. It's time for me to go. I will be back tomorrow morning, and we will be working on the book cover commission that I have. And I will be back again on Monday morning to continue with Spelljammer art, and we'll continue through our week accordingly. So thanks a lot for everyone that was here. I really appreciate you being around. Be welcome to reach out to me either through Twitter at Phil Kearney, on Discord if you know where I'm at, or drop comments down below, or reach out to me if you have any questions or if you have any interest. I'm happy to engage, folks. I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot. Bye.